All right. Yeah. Let's jump in here. Okay. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. I'm done. I gotta get it all out. You know, like massage my jaw. Actor tricks. Welcome. I'm the Deadwoodjedi. I have on the show with me today, Mr. Smiley TK. Welcome back to the program, good sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
It's been a while. I haven't collabed with anybody in a long time, actually. We are the Faction Wars we did, the games we did a while ago. That might have been like the last collab I ever did, and that was like a year ago, right?
Wow. Yeah. It was a year ago. So, yeah, I guess it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Yeah, it's great to have you. I mean, for those of you that don't know who this person is, he's well known, well regarded as the nicest person in Raid. The friendliest CC that's out there. He's just a super great guy. Soft spoken, but always has deep thoughts. He's roasted my my streamer setup a couple of times because I have a messy desk. It was really fun to do. But I've always enjoyed hanging out with him, and I'm really glad you're here. He's also one of the top arena players in this game, has been for a while. So if you're looking for a deep dive on arena stuff, he's definitely one of the people to watch. I know he's been doing a free to play for a little bit as well, and he just generally puts out good content, and is a very smart player and very nice guy. So again, very happy to have you here. But we are going to be talking about a couple things. Big thing, we're going to talk about one thing today. On this video, we're going to talk about one specific thing. We're going to be talking about the new summons event, the progressive chance event. It's kind of I think it's a pretty cool little thing that just got dropped in on us, and it's sort of an awesome little thing we can talk about. I think it's a great way to pull champions. That's not a 10x anymore. So that's kind of the question. Is like, is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What are your thoughts on it? I guess real quick recap in case you've been living under a rock for the last day. It's a 15x event, basically, is what happens. And once you pull a champion, that rate, if it's not the champion you're looking for, that rate bumps to a 20 times chance. And if you pull a champion and it's not the one you want, it bumps again to a 25% chance. Hence the progressive chance event. And that's kind of the idea behind it. You have to select certain champions, as you can see in the picture behind me. There's a variety of champions that'll be offered. You have to select the ones that you want the improved rate for, and then those rates will get bumped. Now, I know there's only like 6 champions in the picture here. Who knows how many are going to be offered? I think we're actually going to have this event for the first time Friday. It might be when this video is going out, to be honest with you guys. But there's like 10 or 12 champions available for that. Epics are available, not just legendaries. The rates, the chance event is separate for the shards. So Ancient is different from Sacred. Sacred is different from Void. And obviously, and the epics are different from legendaries as well. So that's kind of what's going on here. I think that's the jam. But yeah, I don't know. So talk to me, Smiley. What do you think about this?
I think the event as a whole, it's definitely different. It kind of reminds me of a Prism Shard event, actually. And that's been like a big debate of, like, I guess people comparing, like, even with like 2x event summons with like 10x event summons, like what's like the best way to summon champions, right? And I think for now, I mean, I guess we could go deeper into it a little bit later, but as far as pertaining to this event right now, I think it, like I said, is different, but it's still like 15 times chance for non-void legendaries is still very, very small chance. So I think we have to keep that in mind, that it's still not as big of a jump as it should be. But then again, it does go up to 25% chance, but there's still so many champions in the pool that it's still going to be hard to get what you want. And we still don't know all the details for sure yet, as far as like the resetting. I think you mentioned earlier that you don't think it resets, right? If we like pull one of these champions per se.
We were talking earlier about this. I'm assuming that it's going to be like a 10x event where the rates are always on. But you mentioned a really good question. If you don't pull the champion you're looking for, do the rates reset? If let's say you opt for multiple champions, like in the picture behind us here, if I pull one of them, do the rates reset for the other champions? These are things I don't have answers to. And I don't know that we know right now. and we can we'll try and get some clarification. But by the time this video goes out, I don't know if it'll be there. If I do get clarification, I'll put it in the pinned comment or I'll put it in the description of this video so you guys check it out. But yeah, I think that definitely is going to have an impact on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, but 15% chance in general, I think that's still really good. It's better than nothing, I guess. But the champions that we're getting for this weekend are, I guess, I don't know if you want to go over the champions or not, because we do have the list, right?
Yeah, we do have the list. So the champions, let's see if I can actually, we're going to take a quick edit break here, and I'm going to put the champions up on screen for you guys. Ooh, what a cool transition. These are the champions that are being offered. A little movie magic right there. These are the champions that are being offered, right? We got Stultus, Dragonbang, Snick Track, Necmo, Cantra, Countess Lix. You guys can read. You can see all of them there. So like, I guess we could talk like, specifically about the event that's going on right now when this video is live, or tomorrow, the next day, whenever this video goes out. But yeah, we've got more than a few options there as far as champions go. And I think that's kind of a fun little, diversion of like, which ones are you choosing? How are you selecting these champions and whatnot?
Yeah, they did say this is going to be based off of a decreased speed for the champions. So most of these champions do have the decreased speed in there, but I mean, there's some solid, I mean, this is like all great PvE champions. There's a lot out there. Like Stultus is amazing for speed, Dragonheart 10 runs. I mean, Necmo is just incredible, and Hydra Boss, Cantra also decent there as well. There's a lot of solid champions. Theodore, another standout, right, for speedruns and Spider and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of solid choices. Tuak, Wanderer. As far as Void legendaries goes, I mean, whenever people see Void legendaries, like a lot of us, I guess, end game players or people that push platinum, we kind of just tend to gravitate towards like more the PvP champions, right, versus like the PvE champions. But as far as like the lineup goes, I mean, it's only the first weekend, so it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but like I typically, they always try to do these 10x's based around something, right?
Right.
And so this one's obviously decreased speed. For me, I'm really excited, actually. I don't know if I have shards to pull, but I'm really excited because I don't have Theodore. I don't have Necmo. And I'm like, those would be amazing ads for my account, right? But, that kind of takes me into like the next thing of like, is it still worth it to pull these stinking shards for it? Because I know, like, I've been a big proponent my entire time doing this, that it's 2x or bust, right? You pull in the 2x. Yes, you can pull on 10x's. I've done it myself, and I've gotten lucky occasionally, but it's such a bad rate, really. And I have to say, like, the 15 makes it better. It doesn't make it good. 25 is good, but then you still have to pull to get to 25. You already have to pull, like, you have to basically pull 3 legendaries in one sitting, and that's hard to do when you're not on a 2x event, right?
Yeah.
I get I'm a little dicey on like, is this still worth it or not? Like I might pull just to, because just it's the first time doing it. Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm gonna write off those shards real quick. But otherwise, I don't know that it's really, really worth it, typically.
I think for just the general people that are, I guess, have like, they want to pull for certain champions with shards, like one thing we have to keep in mind is you got to have the resource for this too. Like, right? Yeah. We're not going to just get to the first legendary and then boom, you got the 25%. You might hit other legendaries along the way, and then by the time you get to that third one, you're already like 600 ancient shards in, worst case scenario, or like even worse, maybe with like sacred shards, it could be really bad, right? So
yeah.
But 15% chance, like if you really are, like you said, you're looking for the Theodore, you're looking for the Necmo, and even like a second copy of Stultus is amazing for the Dragon 10 speedrun stage 10, right? Mm-hmm. Those are solid choices that you could just slot in there, and if you pull one of them, you could be happy with it. But then again, like 15% chance is better than 10% for sure, but it's still very low percent chance because there's so many champions in the pool. That's the issue.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's I guess that's kind of the thing is I was actually breaking down when I did a short news video yesterday, but my camera wasn't working. But so I came out really late, so I don't know if anybody saw it, but like I was going through the numbers of like what is the rate of getting these champions, and like, you know, doing rough estimates of like how many champions are available, right? And I said there's
Very low.
there's about 180 champions, right, in the game that you can pull from shard legendaries. And I'm like, it's like a what did I come up with? It's a 5% chance, I think, to pull. I have it up here real quick. What was it? Like, yeah, I think it's a 4% chance to pull a legendary, which is, or 5% chance, which is like ridiculously small. And so then it's like, okay, well, look, if it's a 5% chance to pull this legendary on a, I think normally, or like on a 10x, you know, it's only like an 8% chance on a 15, and it only goes up to 12% once you hit 25. It's still such a small chance. But you know, on the other hand, like on my account, there's really only a handful of champions I would need out of these sacred shards, right? Like literally it's 2 of these, right? Necmo, Theodore, and then Duchess are the only ones I don't have on my account. And so I'm like, is that, you know, for someone like me in my position where you have a pretty full account and there's only a few champions you need, I could see it being really worth it. But man, that commitment level, like you're going deep on shards to be able to make this happen.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to go back on real quick that you mentioned about 2x events. I guess like typically I want to take you down like how I view opening shards on certain events. So let's say I have
this is the endless debate, by the way. I feel like ever since the game came out, it's like, do you do the 2x or do you do the 10x? Which is the way to go?
Yeah. I mean, it all depends what I guess what level of the game you're at, right? With whether you're early game, mid game, or land game, whatever. But I mean, for early game people, always 2x events, right? 2x events is the way to go, because I mean, you don't have much anyways, right? You're gonna get the best bang for buck just going for more epics chance to pull, or even more legendary chance to pull. But later down the line, as you progress further and further towards end game, I guess like, you know, like for someone that's super end game like me, where I have to target specific champions. What I do now is, let's say I have a ton of voice shards available or a ton of ancient shards available. I'll dabble on the 2x events, maybe like 100 in with the voice shards, just to see if I can hit legendary for then. But once I get to that 100-ish mark, that's when I just stop pulling. Because that at that point, I'm going to save the rest for, because like I know I have to pull another 100 to hit Mercy, worst case scenario. Like, of course I could pull it sooner, but at that point I'm already halfway, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I might as well save for a 10x event. And that's kind of the mindset that I have. That's kind of the mindset that a lot of my clanmates also have. So that's kind of how we view certain events now. And particularly like 10x events that's your time to try to gun something, right? And it's a lot easier for void shards and ancient shards, because like you mentioned, ancient shards, there are way too many champs in the pool, but void shards, there's, you know, 1/4 of that amount. So the percentage of pulling that 10x champion, especially if there's only one in that list of 10x for that void champion, it's a lot higher, right? It's like anywhere between like 15 and 12, 17% or something like that.
Again, I was going through the numbers, and it's basically like 2.5 times the rate that you have with ancients or sacred shards is for getting the champion you want on void shards. Like I think it's about 13% chance. You know, with the void shard. I think I'm underestimating those percentages too. I think it's actually higher than what I'm saying. But like, you know, even at a, you know, once you hit, I think 15 times is almost it's a 19% chance or something. And I was estimating, so I think I over assumed how many champions are in the pool. So that's probably, basically a 1 in 5 chance of actually pulling the champion you want. And so I definitely see the point of this for void shards.
Yes.
You know, that's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. And that's something else I actually wanted to go to. So I'm glad you dove into that.
Yeah.
So now this event is looking a lot more appealing when it comes to voice shards, because I mean, I don't know if they're gonna make it so where you could put in like one void legendary champion and then multiple other champions, or if you have to put in all void champions at the same time. Like, we still don't know the full details on it, right? But assuming you could put in any legendary champions you want to, you could stack one legendary champion you're targeting within this list, and then from void legendary, and then the rest you could just stack it with the non-void legendaries, because the slot has to be filled out, right? Because otherwise you can't confirm it. So in that case, then it makes it so much easier, and the percentage way higher than before, because 10 times is great, but now it's a 15 times, so you can target a certain void legendary you want to. I mean, in that aspect, I think this is like a great event.
Yeah, I actually 100% agree with you on that. I think we can use what they're giving us as kind of a template, right? Obviously, you know, I'm sure every time we go through this event, and I'm sure over the course of the life of this game, the next year while they're, you know, running this, right, we've never done it before. I don't even think they know exactly how it's going to go, right? But we'll start to see, you know, how many champions are offering, how many slots are available for each one. But obviously, in something like this, you know, they've offered us 2 legendaries for Void, 2 epics for Void, and so my guess is there's going to be 1 slot for each that you'll have to choose, right? You know, as opposed to when you look at the ancient sacreds mythic shards, we're probably going to have, you know, at least 2, if not 3 legendaries for those slots, which is really going to dilute the pool and make those chances even lower, right? But when it comes to these voids, I can totally see that, like, if you can pull them, and like you said, once you start getting close to Mercy, it starts making a lot more sense, because, you know, that's just the opportunity. Well, I mean, 15%, 15 times chance is better than a 10 times chance at the very least, right? But I think that's one of the things that I guess that's the one thing I'm a little disappointed with, is that it's going to be advertised. We're, as content creators, are going to put in our thumbnails 25x chances, right? But I think, you know, when we look at this, we should look at it as a 15x event, not as a 25x event. Because unless you're stowing away 600 void shards for some reason, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to do that, right? Yeah, I mean, like, that just seems, that's a lot, you know. And like, even with sacreds, I feel like we have a better chance. I don't know how many times I've pulled for those guaranteed events where it's like you got to pull 20, and I get 1 legendary along the way, or like, you know, until I get the guaranteed champ. And so it's like it's unless luck is really on your side, it's a real dicey proposition to be able to get, you know, get this champ you want. And even then, it's still only a 15 times chance, a 20 times chance, a 25. It's still not guaranteed that you're going to get them, you know. A little dicey, but I do think it is better than what we've had before. Can I tell you my favorite thing about this, though?
Yes.
It's not the legendaries, it's the epics. The fact that you can target some of these. I still don't have Farrakh in the Fat after he's been out in this game for, like, you know, 57 years now. Still don't have one. Guaranteed, when he comes in for one of these 15x's, I am pulling for that guy.
I think I remember you mentioning that before too, that you still don't have a Ferric in the Fed.
No.
And that was like a year ago. Oh man.
Yeah. But now I feel like I have a really good chance of getting him, right? But like, I think this also applies for those people that are like, don't have a Demitha, don't have a Man Eater. You know, it's going to be really nice, especially with the Void, you know, Void epics that are available out there. If you don't have a what's his name, Inquisitor Shamail, right? Like, this could be a huge way to get champions like that. Geomancer, or you know, Allure, you know,
Game
Seeker,
changers.
all these like game-breaking epics. Seer, all of a sudden, these game-breaking epics can be much more attainable in events. Like, I would actually recommend even new players pull for those, I think, because getting epics is so much easier to do, you know.
That's another I guess, like, that's something I wasn't really looking at. I was looking at it more from a legendary standpoint, but I keep forgetting there's a slot there for the epic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really great point. I mean, it's definitely like 15 times chance, like, especially when it comes to Void, you have a higher chance. And again, same reason applies here, right? Because there's a lot less champions in the Void pool than the non-Void legendary or non-Void epics. So yeah, it's a great way to target like really crazy game-changing champions like that, like the Man Eater, like you said, like the Seer, of course, and yeah, there's so many out there.
So many. And I think obviously this is the best part about Raid, is the fact that you don't need legendaries to be successful, right? They're obviously a step above, and there's some areas of the game where you need some champions, but for the majority of the game, you don't. You need the quality epics to really make some of this stuff sing, and now all of a sudden we have a much better opportunity to be able to get them. I think that's a huge boon for a lot of the community out there, you know, to be able to get that. So I guess my other question, I'm going to take this image down for a little bit. We know what's going on. My other question is, like, what is it? What champions are you know, kind of excited for the target when they come alive out here? The boy's got some. He's got a list.
Yeah, I definitely have a list. As far as non-Void legendaries, so what, I guess I'll answer your question first, but the champions as far as non-Voids, it would be Astrolith. I would definitely like to +4 her.
Interesting. Astrolith.
She's so insane in arena right now. PvP and like top of plat arena.
I could see that. Because
like,
sure.
you're bombing all the stone skin teams, and it's just like it's a really quick match. But she's really crazy there too. But Astrolith, I would like to +4. I think she's the as like there's not really any other non-void legendaries I'm looking for besides the Astrolith now at this point. I pretty much have everyone else I need empowered all the way. But as far as the void legendaries go, I'm still looking for another Yumiko. I have a +3 Yumiko that I'm very sad I can't make that insane team that everybody's making in a Hydra Boss Clash, with the 2 Yumikos. I got one because I have a +3 on it. Right, but one more Yumiko.
You need 2 more Yumikos. You need one to +4 and then one to have a second of. Yeah, I get that.
Exactly. That's pretty much like the biggest target right now. And there's some other champions I'm missing a +4 on. So like Arbiter, I have a +3. Yumiko, I have a +3. George, I have a +3. So those are just examples that I want another copy of. So that I will definitely target those if I see it during that 15 times event.
Yeah, I can see that. I actually the only champion I have that's plus anything really is Candrafon. I would not mind. I think I need one more to get on the +4, which would be pretty.
It's pretty powerful too. Yeah,
he's pretty solid. I mean, old school, but still good. But I think that's another aspect to this I hadn't even really considered that much, is being able to take these champions and take them to that +3, +4 level of, you can start targeting the ones that you actually want and need for that. And obviously for, high-end players like yourself, or, big and big spenders like yourself, that becomes more of a, you're not getting +4 champions and legendaries without putting down a little coin to make it happen, right? And so, obviously that's going to be huge for you guys that are into that. And I think that's who this is designed for, right? The progression part of it, you got to have the shards to be able to do that. I'm just really happy they put the epic stuff in there, so it's not just a whale fest, right? It's like everybody's going to get something out of this. And I think that actually is a really, really nice thing. Not something you typically see is like a new aspect of the game designed for both the new players and for the long-term players. It's kind of hard to do that. So obviously we both kind of like this. There's some good stuff in this.
Yes.
Are there some things that you don't like about it, or some things that you would do differently if you had the opportunity?
So I kind of want to segue into now, is this better, or is a Prism Shard event better? Because the Prism, we don't have it up here right now, do we? Oh, is it a screenshot? But
I don't.
Okay.
Sorry. I'll see if I can't pull it up. I'll see what I can't do. But yeah, but continue talking while that's going on.
So I think this is like another form of the Prism Shard event, but in like a different style, but it's very similar, right? But then I guess there might be a debate of people asking, like, is Prism Shard event better, or is this better? But it always it's gonna depend on what champions are available, of course, but it's gonna depend like who is it for, or who is it targeting, because the Prism Shards, you can't just get these. You have to buy these basically, right? Or like win like scraps and get little fragment pieces of it, and from like events and tournaments and stuff. Like these are not easy to get. Like
I've yet to pull a Prism Shard.
Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, there you go. I mean, these are literally pay to win shards, right? Literally. The other shards, at least they're available for everyone to get and save up over time, where you can target those champions. But as far as, is this event better? So I guess this is more pertaining to whales and krakens, because again, of course, it's a pay to win shard. That's the Prism Shard. So during that last Prism Shard event, where there was a Newt, there was a Rhodos, there was the what else was there? There was a Nish rack, whatever Nish. I forgot how to say it. The rat guy.
Nishrak. I think you said it right.
Yeah, and then the Uko, like those were like the 3 of the 4, or 4 of the bunch. Now there was less legendaries in that pool, but the percentage of getting a legendary was at 12%, I think, or something really high up there, 14% or 12%. It was really, really high. But for each summon, it actually cost, I think it was like 40 per pull or something like that, or 50 per pull. I'm not entirely sure, remember, but I know it's more than this though. Sorry?
I had you covered for a second. Continue.
Yeah, but at that time, with that certain percentage, that Prism Shard event was better than any event for us, as far as like a spender would go, because it's there's less champions in the pool, and like if there's like a majority of champions you're trying to target, then it's great. But even for something like this, people want a Trunda, especially now because she's just top tier for Hydra boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Harima still really, really amazing for live arena. And then of course there's other champions in that are pretty solid as well. But those would be the two that everybody's trying to target if you're a spender per se. But I mean, 4.5% chance is still kind of low. So as far as this current Prism Shard event, I'm not so sure if I like this percentage very much. So I would have to say it always varies, so it's hard to say. But if it was like the last Prism Shard event, then that's definitely the best event for every spender out there per se, because you can have a better chance of targeting. And one thing I do want to share is I got super lucky on that last Prism event.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm kind of ashamed to say this, okay, but it's kind of crazy too.
Don't be embarrassed for your amazing luck. Go for it. It's fine.
All right. So that last Prism Shard event, I spent $550 on Prism Shards. So I think that was around, I don't remember how many shards that was. That was like maybe like 37 or something. It wasn't like I don't remember, but I got so lucky. I got 4 Rotos, 4 Ukos, 2 Newts, 2 Nish. So I took my +1 Rotos and made him an instant +4. I took my no empowered Uko, made him instant +4, and then I got 2 more Newts on top of that, and I used all 3. I have 3 Newts that I use now. So that's just an example. Like maybe it had to do with I guess I got lucky, but just as far as like percentages and the champions, like pool wise, like I don't know. That was great.
That's actually a really interesting point. I'll be honest. Like as soon as this came out, I was like, I didn't dive into it. I was just like, I don't know, another way to pull champions, another, money sink for me. Not super into it. And now I understand, like when you break it down like that, that makes a lot of sense. If the pool is good, it makes sense. If the pool's trash, it's I mean, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know about this one either. There's definitely champions in here I don't have. But like, how many Valkyries does a person need? How many, of a lot of these champs, I don't know that it's that high that I would want to pull on this one especially. But
yeah.
Gosh, now you got my spending finger got itchy all of a sudden. So I'm like, oh, how can I? Let me get that going. It's all of a sudden my arm's doing the swipey swipe. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know what to say. That's a great idea. That's a really good point about that. So you would still prefer the Prism over the 10x or the 15x, the new progressive chance event? It's kind of that's what it sounds like to me. I mean, you're spending $500 on this. That's probably what you'd have to do to make the 10x or the 15x really fly anyway, right?
Yeah, the only problem with Prism Shards, I would still say I probably prefer the other event now, is because I pretty much already have most of the champions in this pool as far as non-voice. But the other one, and there's no voice that can pop up in this pool. That's the problem too, right?
That's true too. That's true.
That's why I think I would say at this point I would probably prefer the 15x void summons, because I can't beat that.
Yeah, that's a
potentially
really good point.
25.
I think that may be the best guidance we can give is like if you're looking for a non-void champion, Prism Shards. If you're looking for void champions, the progressive. Seems like that would make the most sense. What'd you say? What was that?
If you're a spender.
If you're a spender, yes. If you're a spender. Good caveat. I think that's really important. Good call. Yeah. I stopped spending basically this last year on the game. I felt like I was at a point where I didn't really need to anymore. I might get back into it. We'll see how things go. But you definitely have tempted me again. My wallet feels lighter and my finger feels itchy.
That's not what I was trying to do.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It happens. I'm an adult. I can handle it. It's fine. It's fine. No, but this is great. That's actually really, I think, really good advice, and I'm glad you brought that up because I never would have. But I think that's a really good point. We have all these different events. We need to understand, when's the optimal time for us, depending on both what our account level is and like the champions we have, but also like our spending habits. I think those things are both really important. Well, cool. Okay, I think we've talked this one to death here. Thank you so much, Smiley, for taking a moment and chatting with us, guys. If you haven't, we did a little collab talking about the new champions that are being released. Make sure to go check his channel out. I'll actually have both of our videos just linked at the end of this one, so you guys can check that out for sure. But make sure to go check out his channel. It'll be linked in the pinned comment description of this video. Smiley is the nicest guy in Raid, and it's always a pleasure having him around, having him on. And hopefully we'll see you for our next event. That's what we're banking on here.
That's the plan.
All right. Excellent, brother. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. Till next we meet, Deadwood Jedi.